Yep. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our fourth episode of speech contest training. Yes, this is almost becoming like a series. So we're 4 episodes in, and if you're not aware, this is, like I said, this is part of a series, and our district has done now 3 episodes and this one of speech contest training. And these episodes have actually gone back a few months. The first 3 were back in October, and now you're pretty much live for our I guess I'll call it our season finale. Maybe we'll have a cliffhanger now. But the season finale, I'm going to call it. It's pretty much ahead of many of you putting on either your club, your area, or your division contest, or as Ari and I are going to be doing here in several weeks, our district level contest. But first of all, I thank you for being here. To me, your presence really symbolizes that you see how important it is to run your speech contest efficiently, smoothly, and most importantly, putting preparation into running your contest. Because here's the thing, speech contests don't just happen. They truly do take a village. And if you happen to see, if you weren't available to maybe see one of the other 3 episodes in our speech contest training series, they are available out on our YouTube channel. So if you weren't aware, the district has a YouTube channel. You just go to YouTube and you actually search on District 38 Toastmasters, and you can find our first 3 sessions of speech contest training out there. And we're also going to take this recording and put that one out there as well. This one out there as well. Well, I don't want to take any more time away from Ari. I'm not seeing Rhonda in here, so like I said, Ari, we'll give her a chance to speak to everybody at the end of your session. But I'm going to pass along to you and take it away.
Thank you, Chris. As Chris said, welcome everybody to this fourth contest training. We've already gone through the rules of the contest on the first training. The second training, we talked about the whole execution, all the steps, everything you have to do to prepare to the contest. The third session was more about judging and protest. And this time it's going to be like a mix of things. We're going to talk a little bit about Zoom, general guidelines, and the basic of how to do the breakout rooms and stuff like that. We're going to talk a little bit about the scripts. I'm going to show also examples of ballots that I can share with you, how to use those electronic ballots that make very easy to collect the votes from the judges. And we're going to open up to any questions that you might have, especially now if you already started planning and you already have some specific questions. Please feel free to come up with them. If I'm presenting and you have a question, you can post it in the chat. Chris is going to be monitoring the chat and then asking the questions. That way we can address them as I'm presenting instead of forgetting about them at the very end. So let me start sharing. I'm going to start with the Zoom presentation. Let's see how this goes. So you can see my screen, right? Let me try to make it. Okay, so you can see my slides, right? Just want to have some confirmation.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. So welcome. I'm gonna show here just some general guidelines of how to set up Zoom and how to run the breakout rooms. When you set up your meeting, there are a few settings you might want to check. Most of them are default in Zoom. You can on the web page, not on the app itself where you are the one you're seeing right now, but on a browser, go to the web page setting meetings. You can set all these settings the way having a waiting room, start with video off, so that way when people join, they just don't jump up on video, especially someone that joins late. You don't want them to come on video. The chat can be on, the notifications are, I think this should be off, not on. Change that. The co-host screen share in case that I guess depends on your particular contest. If someone needs to share something, if you want to share the agenda, you can have that. And then you also want to make sure your breakout rooms are on. So those just are one of the few settings that you want to make sure are defined in your meeting before you create it. Now, you're going to have a host, and you can have one or more co-hosts. And in general, this is going to be the breakout of the roles. The host and some of the co-hosts can rename, can assign roles. For example, rename the timer or any of those roles. Help with audio video check. Create the breakout rooms, which is going to be the key part of being the Zoom master, and also assign who's going to every room once the rooms are created. And the co-host can, of course, back up the host and support for the breakout room, help with screen sharing. One key part when you are co-host, it's admitting people into the meeting, onto the contest. When the contest starts and the contestants are already presenting, you don't want to admit people because they might come with their audio can be running, their video or anything, and it can disrupt that contestant. So what you're going to do is you're going to let them know in the waiting room that they're going to be held there while that contestant is presenting, and once the contestant is done, then you can admit whoever is in the waiting room. So that's a key part during a contest, not to admit any participant that's coming late. Manage the chat is going to be important too. Spotlighting, that helps when the speaker or the contestant is presenting, just to spotlight it so everyone can see it. And audience management, of course, making sure everybody is in mute during the contest. That's very, very important. The video off and audio off to avoid any distractions from the contest. That's some of the rules. So now, in order to set up the meeting, now I had to use an example live. So you ended up seeing my face.
Ari, can I jump in? I just want to clarify
Yes.
something, and it actually reminded me of something that I should do. So when you talk about host and co-host roles, those are actually things that are designated by Zoom when you log into the actual meeting that you set up as your contest. And so right now, I believe I don't know if Ari and I are both considered hosts, but say that because I was the first one to log on to the meeting, I probably am considered the host as far as Zoom is concerned. So what I can do is I can actually go, I have the power of making other people, oh, you know what? I think you're a co-host. So like right now, I can actually make Ari the host, and it's going to ask me, do I want to change it, over to him? And that basically means he has control over everything, and he can make me a co-host. But you can actually make multiple people co-hosts, and you might think, well, why do I want to do that? Really, that it kind of gives control to the people that need to have that. And the people that would probably need to have that is like your chief judge or your Zoom master. Again, you don't want to give all of your functionaries co-host permissions. You really only want it to be you if you're like the area director or the division director, and then maybe your contest master and your Zoom master. So as long as like 2 or 3 people have it, that it's good, especially if for whatever reason somebody's internet goes down. What happens is if you're the host functions will shift to whoever's co-host. But you definitely want to elect people within the Zoom system as a co-host because it gives them the ability to, like Ari was going through, to do certain things. So I just wanted to clarify that for people, Ari.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I saw someone raise their hand. I don't see it anymore. Okay. Yeah, I don't see it
I don't
anymore.
see it
Okay.
either. So, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Chris. Yeah. So, for example, right now, since we both logged in to the same account and you joined first, it assigned you as a host. And then when I joined, it asked me if I wanted to reclaim the host. I did not, so it let me in as co-host. But we are using the same account to log in. That's why it came up like that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay. So we can move. So let's say you are started, you join, well, one of the first things, if you're the Zoom master, you have to join like, I don't know, half an hour to 20 minutes before the contest starts, or even earlier if you're having the briefings before the contest to start setting up the meeting. So once you join, the key thing is gonna be here at the bottom, you're gonna have this breakout room button. And that's the one that's gonna allow you to create the rooms and also assign members to it. So here I have 3 participants plus myself at the meeting. So once you click that button, then you're gonna this window pops up, and that's where you can create the rooms. So you can say assign manually because you're gonna assign only a few members to the rooms, and also you can say you want 2 or 3. I've created 2 here, but you might create more if you think you need more. When you create, then this room, this the window pops up, and if you right click, then you can rename the room. So you can say one is for briefing the contestants, or briefing the other officers, or for ballot counting. You can create as many as you want. This button here, options, I put here. If you click on the options, this is what happens. You can, for example, allow participants to return to the main session at any time. So when the briefings are done, they can return whenever they're done. You don't need to go get them. Or if you want to close the room, say, well, there's a countdown timer. You can say 60 seconds, and there's an announcement in the room. Say the room is going to be closed in 60 seconds, and then it closes automatically. Here, I renamed these 2 rooms, one for volunteer briefing and the other for contestant briefing. The volunteer will be judges, ballot counters, and timers. And when you right-click on the name of each one that's attending the meeting, they can be assigned to a specific breakout room. That way, you're going to put all the contestants and the contest chair in one room, chief judge, the judges, and timers in that in the other volunteer room. Whenever you're ready to send them into the room, you just click the button, open all rooms, and that's when the room opens and they are sent. They can join that breakout room. So that's pretty much the whole. I guess that's all I have for this. The whole process of the breakout rooms. It seems a little bit daunting if you haven't done it before, but it's really just this: just creating the rooms, say how many you need, renaming them, assign everyone. You can, if you right click on a name, you can move them to one room of the other, or not, or any room if you don't want to assign them to a room. Like, for example, someone who's just watching the contest, they don't need to go into any room. So you don't need to assign everyone in the meeting to a breakout room. And once you're ready to go, just open the rooms and then it goes. So in terms of the breakout room, which is the critical part for being the Zoom master, that's the procedure. Are there any questions on that? Maybe someone who has more experience has experienced any other issues or more details who want to share with us?
And while we're waiting to see if any questions come in, I just want to give a little bit of context. Pretty much this year, since we're doing humorous and international, the 2 times that you'll be needing to create breakout rooms is, as Ari was talking about, during your briefings, during your contestant briefings, and sometimes we call it volunteer briefings or functionary briefings. You'll be putting them into breakout rooms, especially if you do those briefings right before your contest starts. And then obviously towards the end of the contest, you'll be putting your chief judge and your ballot counters into a breakout room so they can perform their functions as counting the ballots. And generally, when your ballot counters and your chief judge singular, is doing that, is generally when your contestants are getting interviewed. And most of your your audience is watching that. So any questions about setting up breakout rooms or even about host and co-host functions before we move on to the next thing? And again, if you have questions later down the road, we can circle back and we can talk about it towards the end. But I'm not seeing any questions in chat, so if you want to go ahead with the next portion, all right?
Yes. Okay. Good. Thank you. So what I want to talk about next is the ballots, because I know there have been many questions about the ballots, and this link, we're going to share this link. This is this whole what I call, it's a Google Drive. It's called content resources for directors, and it has the scripts that I'm talking about for the contest, the briefings for volunteers and for contestants. And also, I'm going to show a little bit later the ballot counting spreadsheet, just an example of how it can be done. It can be done many ways. And the ballots is one of the things that I think it's very useful. And if done properly, it helps to reduce the stress for the chief judge, which it's actually pretty good. So I'm gonna make a copy. That way we can edit that one. Okay, so just gonna rename it. So, well, if you wanna use this one, you need to make a copy and then move it into your Google Drive. So because these ones are not editable, are only editable by me, I put it as view only. So if you create one and copy it to your Google Drive, then you can edit them, then you kind of own them at that point. So I'm just gonna put example. That way we know it's a different one. So the idea on these forms is that, as long as it opens, so it's here, I have the title here, International Humor, so you can just say, well, this one is for international, so just remove this. The date, you can put the date, so it's for that contest. And the only thing you have to do is, I put 4 contestants, so you can go and change the names. And so let's say you have John Wick as a contestant, which I don't know, maybe you don't want to, but I don't know, I'm just putting. So you just put the names for your contestants. I don't know. Some names, so any names, right? And then if you have 4 contestants, you have to go and do the same for each one of them. The idea is when you send this ballot, so for example, I will do the same. It's a little bit tricky, well, not tricky, but just you have to just go do it for every single place. So the idea is you are saying here, when the judge is judging, they say, select who's going to be the first place. So they just put which one of these 4 contestants is going to be the winner for the contest, who's second place and who's third place. That's the only thing the judge has to decide. If you look at the ballot, the paper ballot at the very bottom, it has space for 3 names, first, second, and third. If there's only 2 contestants, well, you can go ahead and delete the part for third place or leave it there. It's not gonna matter anyway. So these are marked as, when you click on it, you can edit them when it's blue. This is marked as drop down. So the judge is gonna see a drop down with all the names, and they just pick one for first place. Then when they're gonna see the same drop down menu for second place and the same one for third place, and then that's the way they're gonna vote. And we can actually, this is very important. If you see here, there's a preview button on the top. There's a little eye here. If you click it, now do this. So it says you need to answer every question, right? Because you want every field to be filled. So if you only have 2 contestants, well, you actually need to remove the third place because there's not going to be a third option. But you go here and say, well, I want John Wick to be the first place. Here, it's going to show up again. So, of course, you're not going to put that as second place because it's the same contestant. Then Peter, and then whatever was the name 4. So that's the voting. That's all the judge needs to do to vote is just select one of the 4 options or 3 or how many contestants you have in that contest. And one thing at the very end is in the paper form, you need to actually sign it. If you don't sign that form, then it's not valid. So the way that it's done here in this electronic ballot is typing your name. So by typing your name, you're certifying that these are the results for tonight's contest. And the only thing you have to do is submit. So I'm gonna submit here. So, okay, so need to actually go back to the ballot itself. Where's the ballot? Let's see. I can see it, so okay. Going back to the original ballot, this example, that's the one I did. If you see here, where is it? There was supposed to be a response. That's all out here. Response. Now I have the response here. There's one for first place for Young Week, second place is Peter, and then third place name 4. So those are the responses, and as all the responses are starting to show up here. Basically, if you keep updating this page, you go to reload, you're gonna see these numbers start growing. If you have 5 judges, then you see 1, 2, 3, then they all answer. You can see, let's see, yeah, you can see their response, and when there are more, you can sweep through them and see which one they pick. So these are the ones I picked, so I can see those results. And if I want to create a spreadsheet with these results, I can create it. It's actually gonna open, and then it shows this is the name of the judge, and first place, second place, third place. So once that spreadsheet is gonna have 5 entries for judge 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can take that and copy it and send it to the ballot counters. You can take a screenshot, you can send it as an attachment or any way you want, or just screenshot in an email. So that's the way that you can collect the results with these ballots and also send it to the ballot counters. Are there any questions or comments on how to use these ballots?
And I assume the next thing, Ari, you're going to talk about is basically taking what you just showed us into the next step, is the ballot counting part,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
So I put together this small spreadsheet that is in that same folder. So basically, what we will have here is all the contestants. So let's say judge 1. So once you have that spreadsheet, you have to kind of map it into this one manually, because we know like first place. I'm gonna put here place, just so people remember. It's 3 points. Oops, I can't type. Then second place. Oh, it's 2 points. You see, I always say them make the same errors, and then the place is 1 point. So the idea is going to be, for example, if judge 1 says, "Oh, I want contestant 1 to be the first place," then you put 3 points. Then contestant 3 has third place, then you put a 1, and then contestant 4 is second place, so I put a 2. And I actually put here, that's a little bit of cheating. If you want to use it, it adds the point for all the judges and tells you how many total points, but you don't need to use it. You can add it manually. You can just say, well, judge 2 likes 1, 2, and 3, and then you can just fill with the result from the spreadsheet. And then this is 1. We didn't have contestant 5, so we're not going to vote for him or her. Then just 2, 1, 3. So you can go back and make sure, okay, every judge has 3 to 1, 3 to 1, 3 to 1. I didn't enter anything wrong. I don't have 3 twice because that would be giving like 2 first places. So just make sure every column is correct. So contestant 1 has this many points. And then you can go here and say, well, who has the most points? Well, contestant 1 has the most points, has 10, that's first place. Now, I didn't plan for it, but we ended up with a tie. Contestant 7 and 3 and 4 has 7 points. Then you will go back and look at the ballot, at the tiebreaker judge ballot, and see between contestant 3 and 4 who has the highest place, and that's the one who would be the third place, and then the other one is no longer ranked first, second, or third. So that spreadsheet is the same thing as you would be doing if you do it in paper. I just put it here in I think it's a simpler way where you can just enter the numbers 3, 1, 2, depending on the place for every judge and for every contestant that gets some place from the judges. And then it just adds them up, or you can add them manually and make sure that the points match. And it's going to be very important that the chief judge numbers in terms of the point for every contestant match each one of the ballot counters. So each one should do it on their own and then make sure that they agree that contestant 1 has 10 points, contestant 2 has 6, contestant 3 has 7, and contestant 4 has 7, and then the tiebreaker ballot breaks that tie. But it's going to be key that if someone makes a mistake and ends up here being, well, I have contestant 2 with 5 points, well, someone made a mistake, and everyone can go back and double check their numbers, make sure they match. And once they all agree, then that's the result of the contest.
Mm-hmm. Ari, all right, just to clarify a few things. On your screen, can you actually go back to your copy of the judge's ballot form? Actually,
The
the next
actual
one.
ballot, yeah.
Nope, it'd be the fourth tab, that one. Yep. Now, kind of like you said, as I know what you only did was an example, but say you have 5 judges, and all 5 judges. So basically, for that example, we had 5 judges. Your first 5 lines would be filled out with their first place, second place, third place. And so one thing I wanted to point out, and if you want to type it in just to kind of give them. So the example that Ari just gave, and this is what I want to clarify, is really like a time saving, sort of thing. A cheat sheet, if you will. I mean, would you agree, Ari? Like kind of a way to make
I
it more
like it
efficient.
because it adds up the points, and that way, as long as you put them all correctly, there's no mistake in adding that. That's all.
But yeah, can you go back to the tab you're just on? Because I wanted to kind of explain something. But I will say, if and I've definitely been in situations as a ballot counter where this is the way we did it, where myself, the other ballot counter, and the chief judge would go into a breakout room, and we would basically stare at the results as they came in from all the judges. And in that example, basically all 3 of us would sit there manually with literally a piece of paper at home in front of us and basically tabulate everything together, meaning that we would go through knowing that if you got first place, you get 3 points. If you get second place, you get 2 points. If you get third place, you get 1 point. And we would all sit there and calculate everything by hand. And by all means, if you want to use Ari's sheet to make it more efficient, you can do so. I'm just giving you an alternative way to do it. Or you can sit there and do it all manually in the confines of your own home. But the point is that in every situation I've been in where I've been a ballot counter, you have to make sure that all 3 of you, the chief judge and the ballot counters, you are all in agreement of everybody's totals coming up. Because I'm in situations where it's like, oh, what did you get for John Doe's total? Oh, you got 14? Oh, I got 15. Oh, let me check. Oh, okay. I made an error. Okay. You know what? I re-added my numbers. Okay. I got the same number. And sometimes that's what takes, a little longer. I've seen it where, the interviews will end and, the judges and the ballot counters are still in the breakout room, and it might be because maybe somebody's not great at math and they're sitting there just making sure that their numbers are tabulated. But either way, either whether you use Ari's cheat sheet or you sit there and tabulate them, by going through each name and making sure that they have the point values they should. That's really what your chief judge and your ballot counters need to be doing. Okay, so Ari, can you make your
Oh,
example a little
this
bigger?
one?
This one,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was one of the
Hold on.
questions. Okay, there was another question. Let me see.
Like this?
Yeah, hopefully that's good. I'll see if
And I can make this one
uh,
larger too.
okay, I'm just reading
Well,
through the questions that were sent to me as you do that. So
it's
somebody asked about how do we have folks sign forms? So really I think Ari had showed you in that one, it would be by putting your, can you go back to the one of the ballot? Yeah, I think at the bottom
yeah, the
there,
name.
basically by typing your name is the same thing as signing the forms. So the electronic, and I'm just going through, so somebody asked, where do we download and fill these out? We are going to, basically you're going to make this, your Google Drive available to people, or is this one of the ones that we're going to try to put out on the website, Ari? Can you,
I'm gonna share
the
this
link?
this link that has all the
Okay,
ballots, and
okay,
then those can be copied. Yes.
okay,
So
okay.
one other thing that's going to be very important is how to send it, right? Because as you now we filled the form
Mm-hmm,
and we want to send it. So what we want to do is here there's a button that says send.
mm-hmm,
You can click on it and it opens
mm-hmm,
this. So you can enter the email address of all the judges you're gonna send this to, and you can this one is important here. Include form in email.
mm-hmm,
You can click that because what's gonna happen is, if click this, when they get the email, they can vote directly on when they open it, they can vote there and submit, or
mm-hmm,
there's gonna be a link where they can click that link and the ballot will open. So either way, it's
mm-hmm,
gonna work. What I suggest is doing a test ballot. Do one that
mm-hmm,
says test and send it 2 days before, and just put random names that are not related to the contest and send it to the judges. That way they can see
mm-hmm,
the ballot
mm-hmm,
and can play with it. And
mm-hmm.
also you can see the responses and see it work. So this is the way to send it, because that's going to be the key. How are you going to send? You can see here, you can send in an email, or you can send a link. If you copy this link and send it to the judges, they're going to receive the same ballot. So
Mm-hmm.
either way, you can just type the email.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I was
that's
gonna
it.
say, can you put the Google Drive link in the chat so that people can copy it
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now?
yeah. Yes.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'm gonna answer the some of the other questions that were put out there. Okay, so we had a question: what is the difference between a chief judge and just a judge? So to give a brief explanation of that, because that I could turn that into a 10-minute thing, but basically your chief judge is known to everybody. Your chief judge basically helps run the contest in terms of uh, the functionaries, and they help the ballot counters. I would say the biggest difference is your chief judge is publicly known to everybody. They're not anonymous. That your chief judge is basically help run the contest. Your judges, the people that are actually filling out the ballots, they are supposed to remain anonymous. That is a huge thing. I'm sure a lot of people here who've done contests before already know that your judges are supposed to be anonymous. One thing that and I'm sure Ari has this in the material somewhere, especially those that are doing it virtually. Like you don't want somebody changing their name to, if I was a judge, I there's no way I would change rename myself Judge Chris Hulse. No, it is supposed to be anonymous, because, and the reason why is because you don't want your contestants going after your judges saying like, well, why did I not come in first place? I want to know exactly
Yes.
why. Well, how did you score? Yeah, no, there's supposed to be anonymity there. So your judges are supposed to be anonymous, and they're actually the ones filling out the ballots, and going through. They're the ones that actually go through and say first, second, third, where your chief judge does not vote. Your chief judge is basically the person in charge of the judges, the timers, and the ballot counters. Is it okay to have briefings the day before the contest? Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of see it half and half. Some have briefings the day before the contest, some have it right before the contest. It kind of depends on what everybody's schedule is. Sometimes I've had to have them right before the contest because, I found that if I try to have it the day before, people are like, I'm not available Saturday at whatever time you're having it, but maybe everybody was available right before the contest. Um, and then they go on to say, our club is a corporate club. Not sure if folks who will take on the contest roles will be able to join prior to the actual contest. Okay. Um, yeah, and that's also something else too. Just a point I'm going to make is um, get people who are reliable. I know this is going to sound obvious, but I'm going to say this because we have seen this happen already. Um, get people who are reliable because this is different than a club meeting. Club meeting, you can kind of assign evaluators, timers at the last minute. A club contest or any kind of contest for that matter, that is not a situation you want to be grabbing people at the last moment, going being like, "Hey, can you be a judge? We have a contest starting in 5 minutes." No, you want to make sure that people are committed to this. So if you and I'm just going to say it, if you think that somebody might flake out, don't ask that person to be a judge or a ballot counter or a timer. If it's their first time doing it, explain to them you're going to get briefed before the contest. They might be a little apprehensive to do it, but just explain to them the importance of it, the importance of coming to the briefing, and that it's not just going to be something they're going to be thrown into. They will be taught how to do their job, but if they're kind of like, well, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make contest, you know what? Recruit somebody else. This is Trust me, you're going to have enough going on the day of your contest. You're not going to want to have to worry about whether Martha Smith is or is not going to show up for the contest. So remedy that by getting reliable volunteers. Um,
I think, Chris, there was
okay.
a question on the main chat about the trophies, how they're going to be handled.
Yeah, I actually didn't get down to that question yet because there were some questions that were sent directly to
Okay.
me. So that's why
Okay.
if people are like, what questions is he going through? There were ones that were sent directly to me.
Okay.
Um, so judging forms at a point value. Uh, understand that judge completes the point value, actual form gets sent to the bounty counter to tally up and confirm the first, second, and third place winners. So basically, the person was asking about the judging forms. The chief judge and the ballot counters are all kind of working together with that, and kind of hopefully you heard my explanation of basically everybody that gets first place gets 3 points. Everybody gets second place gets 2 points, and everybody gets
Yeah,
third
like
place
this.
gets 1 point. Um, okay. How are the area contest trophies? Um, Actually, we're going to handle that. The as in we meaning Ari and I. So those will be. We're still working through exactly how we're going to do it. Basically, once the area contest winners are established, and those winners are put out on the district website, because that is something that if you were not aware, I'm actually going to tell you now, if you're an area director or a division director, once your contests are done, you should log into the district website. And if you don't have credentials to do that, you need to reach out to Michael Friedlander, and his email address is webmaster@tmdistrict38.org. Could you actually type that in the chat, Ari? It's webmaster@tmdistrict38.org. But the reason you'll need to log in and with those credentials is there's going to be a page that is going to show your, I believe it's, I don't know if it's first, second, or third, or just first and second. I almost want to say it's just first and second, but you're going to go to that page and basically say your area A10 as an example, because I know that's one of our areas, and you would put your, international first place winner, international second place winner, humorous first place winner, humorous second place winner. And so those four people will be put out on the page and shown. And once they are put out there, Ari or I or somebody that is assisting will reach out, and we will find out basically the best way to get their trophies to them. But as area directors and division directors, you don't need to, because your contests are going to be virtual, you don't have to worry about providing those trophies. The district actually pays for them and will be responsible for getting them to the winning contestants. And somebody asked about chief judge and contest chair. Your chief judge and your contest chair are two different people. You do not want them to be the same person. They actually are two different people. And your contest chair, generally your contest chair is the person running, responsible for contest. And what I mean by that is generally your contest chair is your area director or your division director, or at a club level, it's somebody that was designated by the club. It doesn't necessarily need to be the club president. It could be the VPE, or I'm just making this up. But generally your chair at the area and division level is your contest chair. But your contest chair does not necessarily need to be your contest master. And your contest master meaning your Toastmaster for that contest. But generally we refer to him as a contest master. But if you're the area director, you do not have to be the person going through everything and reading it and basically being the host. You can ask somebody else to do that, especially if you're, say, you're a division director but you're doing enough that day. You can ask one of your area directors to be your contest master. Okay, I believe I got through all the questions, and I'm sure you have some other stuff to go over, Ari. So
yeah, I was going to show this this area contest script, because that one is one of the things that helps you the most being prepared and organized is have a good script. So I'm providing examples. We've used this before, so I will say they are already tested and they worked, but please use them as a guideline. You don't have to just do exactly what this says. That's part of the thing about if you are the contest chair, it is your contest and you want to customize it to something that you like or you feel is going to be better. So please feel free to take this just as a guideline and not as a Bible. Let's say you can make any changes you want. But basically this is like you can use it like a, you have a teleprompter and you can just scroll through it and read through it while you're going through the contest. It when I highlighted in yellow, that's where it's specific for an area contest, your area number, who's your name of your contest chair, any dignitaries or who are visiting your club, the date, some details like that. You have your interviewer, but basically it goes through explaining, introducing the contest, introducing the rules, saying, oh, these are the contestants, these are their order, they're going to be they're competing. Then the chief judge talks about the rules, just basic rules, timing for the contest, eligibility, and the speaking area, all the details that are important to talk about and explain during the contest, and then just the regular execution of the contest, going to call contestant one, contestant name, speech title twice, the name again. Then at the end, I think that this is important. I've seen sometimes people at the end of when the contestant ends make some comment about the speech or something, and you should refrain from doing that. When the contestant ends, just thank them, just thank you and the name, and that's it. No any comment that could indicate whether you like the speech or not, because that could be felt as biased.
All right. Can you,
Yeah.
what you're showing us now, can you bump it up again? Can you make it a little
Yeah.
larger?
Yeah. That there.
Can you actually, like, you see how, like, it kind of almost looks like we're looking at your desktop and then your windows within a window on the desktop. Can you actually make the window where you're, can you make that bigger?
Full
No,
screen,
I mean almost like,
just like this.
yes,
And
that, yeah, that's, yes,
is that good enough? Okay.
yes,
Good.
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, so I have like contestant one, contestant two, three, four. If you have more, you just add more. Then complete just the part where at the very end we have to wait for the chief judge to collect the ballots, move to the interviews. And this is pretty much it for a contest. And then if you want to have a break, you can have a break. If it's in Zoom, probably it's not needed. And then you go over again with the international contest, which is going to be pretty much a repeat of what happened, because humor and speech have the same format. So there is really no difference compared to, for example, when we have table topics of evaluation, which you have to have the table topics, you send the contestants away and then you bring them. So it has a little bit more elements here. They are the same. You don't need to have the contestants go away and then come back one by one, which makes it much easier. So this is the repeat from the same one. So basically, you can just fill the details for your own speech and customize it if something you don't like or you want to add. But it's a really good guideline for you to use as a starting point for planning your contest, because you already have a script that you need to follow. And I forgot to change my name. Yeah, I went through it. I might have to speak some. So if there's some specific, you can of course change it.
Unless
But
you happen to be the contest chair for that
unless I
contest.
have it, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I get same thing contestant one. So this, for example, this is the way Toastmaster wants you to introduce the speaker. So I just put it like that. You just fill the name, the speech title, and then you have it. You can just go through all of them. And you can fill that in advance, so you don't need to be scrambling at the last minute. Or what's the name of the contestant? What's the title? You already know the order. You already know their title.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it's definitely contestant number one, Chris Hulse. Title of speech. Title of speech, Chris Hulse. Exactly, almost exactly like that.
yeah. I see a question about how do you determine the speaking order? So that's done in the briefing. When you have the briefing, you have all the contestants, and you can do it in many ways. There are websites. I don't know. I don't remember the name. Do you remember,
Yeah, there is
Chris?
and you know what's funny? I thought you were showing me one the other day. There's a
Uh,
and while I'm explaining this, because I actually have a few points to make, you might it's almost like it's spinawheel.com, but I don't think that's what it is. It's something about, it's almost like putting these names into like a wheel.
Pick a
Um,
wheel, I think it's called, right?
Picker wheel, like
Something like that.
Picker. I was gonna say, can
Wheel of
you,
names. So Brian Hauser put wheel of names. So
is that the name of the website, Ruth? I saw
that
you just put that in the chat.
yeah,
Yeah, if
Brian
somebody
put the
could, if
link.
somebody who knows or has used a website, oh, wheelofnames.com. Okay. Brian Hauser did. Thank you, Brian. Um,
It's pretty.
yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I know we've used that for something else, within the past few years. Um, one point I wanted a few points I wanted to make, but one of them, I know when you start out talking about the scripts, Ari, you said, you don't have to use these. I highly recommend you using the scripts because they provide a level of consistency you know, between our contest in terms of, what's said, what's covered, what's introduced.
Yeah.
I mean, these scripts basically cover all your bases. And, especially in a contest environment, this is one where, just like a sporting event has to be fair and equitable among everybody involved. And by using a script, this covers all your bases. Obviously you're going to have to spend some time going through it ahead of time, making sure that all your information is plugged in, like your chief judge or your contest chair and things like that. Because if you don't spend the time, at least, you know, even like the morning of, it's going to come across a little clunky. So I would recommend that you go through the script and you fill out as much as you can ahead of time. Obviously, putting them in their order, like you're going to do that most likely, right before the contest or at the very beginning of the contest. Okay,
I think Alan
so
was asking about if there are any guidelines for contestants in a Zoom contest.
yeah, so Alan, if you could come off mute, because that's to me that's kind of a broad question. Could you come off mute and kind of clarify what you mean by that?
Well, are there requirements for backgrounds on the screen? Are there just, how close you get to the screen? Or, I've never done a contest with Zoom.
Mhm.
They've always been in person before.
Mhm.
And
So in terms of requirements, no. And really, in terms of the guidelines, it's really up to the contestant. And I mean, I can draw on my experience of what I've seen. A lot of not everybody, but I would say a good number of contestants will have like some sort of blank background. So it might be like a bed sheet that is basically, I mean, I don't know what room in their house they're doing it, but it's basically to provide, almost like a blank slate. Somebody commented, should not use background so we can see gestures better. Um, and again, I mean, as Joyce said, that's a should, but we really can't dictate what a contestant has as their background because everybody's in a slightly different situation. I just feel like a lot of them probably choose to have more of a blank background, a white background, maybe a blank wall sort of thing, so that it isn't distracting to the viewers, because honestly, when you are giving a speech at a speech contest, you don't want people concentrating on, oh, hey, look, they have a Pablo Picasso hanging behind them,
Picasso on the wall.
or wow, they got a huge family. Let me count him. No, you want people to concentrate on what you're saying and your speech content and your gestures and things like that. And that is why I believe that people go ahead and do blank backgrounds or something where it's almost like they're in a room of nothing else but them.
okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I think, and also one other thing is, in general, in the contest, you need to define the speaking area. Now in Zoom, is well, the speaking area is the screen.
Yes.
So
yes.
if someone exit out of the screen, that's I guess that's something that it depends. If it's part of the speech, if I hide and then jump, then it's like a prop. But if I'm speaking and then suddenly disappear and later come back, that could be considered leaving the speaking area. I don't know, Chris, what your preference there, because the speaking area has to be defined, and in this case, it's pretty simple. It's the screen, right?
Yes.
But if you use it as a prop, then you're not leaving the area. It's just using as a element of your speech.
Mhm.
And I think there's a comment, while the virtual background can be incorporated in a tall tale, you're talking about being out in the fields and you have a background as a field, might be part of your prop. But in general, the virtual backgrounds are going to be distracting. I can see if I move, my chair pops up, and then people are looking at the chair and not at me. So that's why the background, as Chris mentioned, just a white wall, it's better because it's not as distracting. These virtual backgrounds make it so that if you move, then things come in and out of the view, and it's very distracting. So the contestant can have it, but it's not going to help them because then the judges are going to be distracted by looking at what pops up in the screen and not the speech.
Got it. Thank
And I see we have about 4 minutes left. One thing, and I know we had talked about it. I didn't know if you had time to show it real quick, Ari, was that you were also going to provide people with scripts for the briefings.
Yeah, I have them here in this directory
Okay.
here. We have the volunteers briefing and the contest chair. But yeah, so that's the one. The contestant briefing I also have.
Okay.
So I have actually a couple of versions for each. So
okay,
they can choose which. Yeah, so they're already in that directory there.
and is this in the same Google Drive as
Yes.
the okay?
The one I just sent. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And we're going to try to get these templates and these scripts out on the district website as well. I think with the Google Forms, I think that I don't know that we're able to put that out on the website because it's a Google form.
What I was thinking is just send an email to the directors at
yes.
TM, and with that same link. So while we put it on the website, I'm still gonna send it to everyone. That way, they all receive it. The area directors.
Yeah.
And division directors.
What we'll do is we'll cascade it through the division directors. I did, and I don't know if it worked. I did attempt to send an email to all division and area directors. I think it was directors@tmdistrict38.org, but I don't know if it came through. I basically got some feedback that it did not go through, so I then cascaded everything through the division directors. But either way, we will get the information out with the Google form, with the Google form link, and then everything else we will either have in the Google Drive or we will get it out on the district website. So we have 2 minutes left. I want to be respectful of people's time. I will stick around beyond 8 o'clock. Ari, I don't know if you
I can stay. Yeah, no problem.
You can stay?
Too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
looking for the email.
So any questions or I
have a question.
Oh, sure.
Do we still give the judges that whole long list of the checklists that they look at, that they evaluate, and they tally up the totals? Do we still do that?
Yes, the basically the forms, right?
The scorecard, yeah.
Yes. And those are available. I know that those are already available out on the district website. It's basically a packet that if you are the one putting together your contest, it has a bunch of different stuff within that packet. But yes, you do want to email those out to your judges if it's a virtual contest, so that they have it. I mean, especially if they're oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That there is a kit for humorous speech and also for international. So you should download that kit, and it has all the forms. So you need to send the judges the ballots, which is that form that has everything, ballot counter, their form, and the timers, their form, and it's the same as if you're doing it in person. It's just you're just emailing them, they're printing them themselves.
And I asked a simple question in the chat, that is it okay if the form is plain and not filled with the pretty logos and stuff?
Well, when you say ballot, do you mean the virtual ballot, or do you mean
virtual ballot, the Google Forms?
If
we just create a very simple fill it in.
I mean,
first place, second place, third place. Yeah.
As long as it serves the purpose of what you're trying to do, yes. I mean, the reason why Ari went through and created one was so that it was already done for you.
Okay, I'm just in case it doesn't work if I download it. That's all.
No, even at the end of the day, you have to do what works better for you as a chief judge. If you think you might want the judges to send you a text with the results, and that counts for you and that worked for you in the last second, or they can take a picture of the paper and send it to you because that one cannot be changed. Whatever works for you. The thing is, it needs to happen within 2 or 3 minutes. So if the form is not working, just send me a picture of the paper and that's good enough. So at the last minute, whatever works. Really.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, Pam. And just to kind of clarify that, especially for other people who are still on the phone, with having been to many different types of, different levels of contests throughout the past few years, yes, not everybody uses Google Forms. What we wanted to establish one way of doing it for everybody, because, one thing I thought, if we tell people, oh, there's 9 different ways you could do this, all that is going to do is going to create confusion. So, I mean, I think a lot of contests actually do the Google Forms because they do work pretty well, and they're a pretty efficient way of doing it. But if you find that taking pictures and texting it to your chief judge, I've been to contests where that does happen as well. And some of you may be thinking, well, I've done that in the past, and that's what we're going to do for this particular contest I'm running. But it has to be fair, it has to be equitable, and it has to work for your situation. So, okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Scorecards.
There's one question by Stephanie about the forms, if they can, if they are able to fill out online. So yes, but you just need to make a copy and then move it to your own Google Drive. And then once it's in your Google Drive, you can edit. You cannot edit in mine because it's locked just for viewing. But if you copy, yeah.
Well, and I think Stephanie was making reference to the kits that are available out there on the district website, like the actual forms that the judges can use.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know offhand, but I know there are ones out there where they are basically fillable PDFs.
Yeah, but those mostly, because you don't need to fill anything. When they're I know what you mean. If you can fill the form, the PDF, and send it, I don't think you can do that. I usually print them and then just use it by hand. I'm not sure. We'll need to check. But if you open
that's
it,
what a
it's
lot of people
editable.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people do, is they'll print them out, or they'll suggest print them out. I know sometimes it's a difference of whether it's a regular PDF or a fillable PDF. I don't know. I don't know at this exact moment which ones are out there, whether it's a fillable PDF or not. If the ones that are out there for the district, I actually could. Where's my web browser? I could actually find out. If it'll probably take a second to look, but I know they're out there somewhere.
Okay,
if it's not the ones that the district has. So let me see.
Okay, yeah. So we're over the time. So thank
Okay.
you. Well, maybe we can say I'm not sure. I'm just gonna thank everyone who came to the training, and hopefully your questions were answered. And if not, then please feel free to contact me or Chris.
Absolutely.
We'll be
And
glad
the
to
email
answer
address
any questions.
It's contest-advisor@tmdistrict38.org. Okay. So I'm literally, is Stephanie? Oh, Stephanie is still on here. Okay, so I'm literally downloading the kits as we speak to see if okay, contest ballots. Yes, it is a fillable PDF. So let me share my screen. I'll actually show you where I got all this, those of you that are still on here. Screen 2. So if you go to the district website and go to contest resources, and so there's a kit for each type of contest. So I downloaded International Speech Kit, which took me to Toastmasters, download the kit, and my web browser
So you're not
puts
sharing,
it in a zip
Chris.
file. Of course. Let me start all that over again. Okay.
Okay, sorry, I didn't
That-
realize.
Thank
I
you
thought-
for letting me know.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are probably like, what are you doing,
Yeah,
dude?
what's he talking about?
Yeah, like I'm going through these steps. Like, yeah, actually I did a speech like that at that's something, and they were like, yeah, that thing that you just went through, none of us saw what you're talking about. Okay, so you can see my web browser, right?
Yep.
Okay, so Toastmasters District 38, you click on that, you go to the website, you go to contest resources. Yes,
There you go.
Carol, we are still recording this, so this will be put out on YouTube. So you go to contest resources, you click on, so say it was for international I wanted to do. I click on that button to download it. It takes me to the Toastmasters International website, download, or click where it says download kit. My web browser puts it up here, open file. I think it might throw it to one of my other screens, but
It's like a zip file.
Yeah. I might have to go into my folder.
Well, you can open the other ones. You already have like 3 copies.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, so sometimes because I think I have too many monitors hooked up. Sometimes you see my window is throwing it over somewhere. Oh, I see what it is. It's, shoot. I will find the window. It's just I probably have like 17, I'm not even kidding, 17 windows open. Oh, it's right here.
Chris, is it at the far right at the top of your screen?
Nope, it's right here. I just found it. Okay, so when you open that, whatever you downloaded, it looks like it has 16 files in here. So it's this ballot, and that is what you're going to want to send to your judges. And then, as you see, they can sit here and put the names of all the contestants, like Joe 1 and Jane 2, and Ed 3. And then they can sit there and again, everybody does judging slightly different. So I'm not going to go through but that's kind of spoken to in the judge's briefing, especially if you read through that script. But the point is that, yes, they don't necessarily have to print it out. They could print it out, and definitely I would email them these ballots, the judges the ballots ahead of time, so they have them, so they have the option. They can either pull them up and have these on the side for during the contest, or they can print them out like we used to do before everything was virtual. But yeah, so that definitely answers that question. So did that help, Stephanie? I think, or was Stephanie?
Yes, it
You
did.
were the
Thank
one
you
that
so
asked about it.
much.
Yep.
Yes,
Cool.
yes, it was. Thank you.